Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield with Manny Things, and welcome to another episode of Manny Talks Shooting, the show where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you enjoy this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Things. Without further ado, let's get to this episode. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Manny Talks Shooting, the show where I talk to whoever I want to in the shooting industry. But first, this show is brought to you by Go Fast, Don't Suck. Go get yourself some dry fire products, some awesome t-shirts, a match jersey if you really feel like it. Go support Bill because he supports the shooting sport. So gofastdon'tsuck.net. But without further ado, let me introduce you to my guest. This guest is somewhat called the mad scientist. That's Mr. David Lyell. David Lyell, how you doing, sir?
Hey, good, Alex. How are you, man?
I am good. This one's been a long one in the making, so I'm excited to finally get you on the show.
The mad scientist followed me to your podcast.
That's for sure. For anyone who doesn't know, David was on a podcast as a host for a while. I think I only started listening maybe a year ago, but
yeah, we did a few seasons.
But yeah, that's how I met David. I kicked butt at trivia, but I still don't know what your van's called.
It's the Urban Assault Vehicle.
Oh,
the UAV.
UAV. I was trying to remember that today. And I was like, what was that? But anyway, so everybody, this is David Lyell. David, go ahead and tell people who you are.
Well, I USPSA shooter, got a pretty extensive background in machining and metalworking, and I build guns. I do a lot of gunsmithing work for friends and local competitive shooters. And recently taken a job with Masterpiece Arms, where I'm going to be overseeing their manufacturer of the double stack 1911 line, which they're is a new product for them. Something they're just now bringing into their product line.
Oh, that'll be cool. We will definitely talk a little bit more about Masterpiece Arms in a little bit. But that's pretty awesome. But David, how did you get into shooting in general and then into competition shooting?
I grew up in the South. I'm from South Carolina. It kind of was always just something that we did. I'd shoot clays over the garden in the back of my parents' house with a shotgun, and always had a BB gun in my hand when I was outside, and just was always around just some kind of shooting, just for fun. And that kind of one thing that I think I like I like to think about it. When I was younger, I used to I remember going to the grocery store with my mom, and I may have been like 7 or 8 years old, and while she was grocery shopping, sometimes I'd sneak over and just look at the magazine aisle. And I remember picking up the shooting magazines, and I was just really intrigued with the shooting magazines. And I picked up one. It had it was some sort of crazy pistol that had like a really long magazine hanging out of the bottom, and it had some kind of scope on the top of it and a long barrel. And I just thought it was the coolest thing, and I knew I wanted one of those. I had to have one. I didn't know what it was until many years later, and it was a CZ Checkmate open gun. And so apparently I've been wanting to do this for forever, and just got into it maybe about USPSA competition wise about 5 years ago now.
Really? Only 5 years?
I started right at the beginning of Carry Optics when it was a preliminary division. Okay. And I chased around Max Michel for the first year or so until he figured out how to dominate Carry Optics, and left me behind after that. But
fair enough. I mean, I would be surprised. You're a young kid. I thought you would have gone to the nudie mags, but
no, it was gun magazines.
Yep. But that's pretty cool. And you said you came into Carry Optics. What were you shooting in Carry Optics back then?
Well, I started in production, and I was shooting a CZ. Just standard CZ 75. And when Carry Optics started, I was always intrigued with the red dot on a pistol, and I never shot a pistol with a red dot on it. And it seemed like a really good way to try it out. Inexpensive way, for the most part, easy way to get into shooting a red dot on a pistol. And I went with the the Canic SFX. I got one of the first, I think one of the first batches that came into the country, and they had some issues with recoil springs and whatnot. That's since been straightened out, but that introduced me to the red dot, and I hated it. I was so much faster with iron sights. I really considered taking that red dot off for about 3 months.
Yeah. Now, is it just because you had to figure out the wobble, or that the dot was never going to absolutely be still while shooting?
It was just so different. Everything about it was so different from iron sights and what I'd been shooting for years. It really, people do it a lot quicker, but it took me about 3 months of consistent, like, dry fire daily, to get accustomed to the dot, to where I could draw from the holster, just present the gun, and the dot would be there, and I wouldn't have to think about it. It wasn't until that point to where I didn't have to think about, the dot presentation, to where I started getting comfortable with it. And now I love the red dot. I've since moved to open division, but the red dot is the most fun I've ever had shooting a pistol.
Now, what was your first open gun?
It was one that I built, because I could not afford to buy one at the time, and I wanted to shoot open. I got to the point in carry optics where I was keeping up with the open guys on time, but I didn't stand the chance with the minor hit factor, minor scoring. So I built one, and it turned out pretty well. It went through a couple iterations over its lifespan. It's still my backup gun right now. It's got about 150,000 rounds through it. It's had a couple barrels, a couple slides, and whatnot. But
yeah. So did it have a lot of issues, or did you just kept tweaking it just to make it more to function better?
Initially, it was totally something new to me. I had to figure out, mainly the load development was what gave me so much issues, and trying to figure out what comp would work with what kind of powder, and how, what kind of tuning and load I needed to get the dot tracking the way I wanted it. But once I figured that out, I didn't have any issues with it. I built a couple other guns, after that one, that I really didn't like, because I was just trying different things with it. But there was a big trend, or mainly weight. Everybody's wanting to add as much weight as possible to their gun now. And I built a gun purposely to see how heavy I can make it. And it was so heavy that it did not have any recoil, which sounds like it might be a good thing, but the dot was inconsistent. Like, you could not track the dot and call, or prep for your second shot, because the dot would not move up and down. It would just kind of shake a little bit back and forth, and it was so hard to shoot. Because of that, it's become a parts gun now. I'm pulling stuff off of it, and I don't know it, but I've just experimented with different things, and learned a lot doing it. And I'm shooting a Limcat gun right at the moment. This will be my third season now shooting Limcat.
And I think, remember in the first episode I ever listened to, you had shipped that thing off, or you had to get a new grip for it.
I had trouble with the grip because it was kind of a reduced back strap. And I don't have like huge hands, but they just, I feel like I have normal size hands. But it just didn't. I had trouble with the grip and the way I gripped the gun, and engaging and disengaging the thumb safety. It was giving me issues, and I really tried to train around it, and I gave it almost a full year trying to train around that, and I couldn't do it. It didn't fit my hands. I had to do something different with the grip. I needed a little more width on the back end of it.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So you're shooting, you said that was a Limcat?
Yeah, Limcat.
So you got a Limcat, you're shooting, if I remember right, you're shooting coated bullets through that, aren't you?
Blue bullets. Yep. That's been my bullet of choice for just about since I started.
And you haven't had any issues with like the coated bullets and the comps?
No, and I hear that a lot. People ask me that a lot, and maybe it was an issue before. I've never, over the last 5 years or so, I've never had any issue with it. I clean my guns. I wonder if people just don't clean their guns. I'm not sure. But I clean them every time I shoot the gun. Which, I could probably get away with like maybe a little bit less. But I feel like I put so much into my shooting and my practice and training. I don't want to leave the opportunity for a dirty gun or some mechanical issue to screw up anything, at a match.
No, that absolutely makes sense. I mean, especially when you're shooting it open, you have one major hiccup with the gun, that could lose you the stage and maybe even the match, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, a second or two, yeah, this stage is done.
Right. So, David, have you taken any formal training in your 5 years of USPSA competition?
I have. Let's see. The first class I did that kind of introduced me to an open gun. It was at the end of the class. The shooter, he was a local master shooter in Augusta, Georgia. Here, he did a class. It was kind of an introductory to competition or USPSA kind of thing, and I really learned a lot from that. It was early on when I was first getting started. I'd shot a couple indoor IDPA and indoor USPSA matches, which are very small, real low round count, but it was a great idea for any new shooter to do, to take some sort of introductory to USPSA or competition class. I learned so much from it. But at the end of the class, the guy that was teaching the class was an open shooter, and he let me shoot his open gun because I was shooting my carry optics gun, and at the very end of the day, my dot flew off of the slide. So we had like one more stage, a training stage or whatever we were shooting, and he got out his open gun and let me shoot it, and kind of ruined me on plastic guns after that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's why I've had friends offer to let me shoot their open gun. I'm like, no, I can't afford that. No, don't put that in my hand.
Yep. I don't know if any of you listeners know Scott Thompson. He shot for Akai custom guns for a while, but he always had the new Akai open gun. And every time I'd shoot with him, he's here, shoot this. Nope, I'm not shooting it. I'm not touching it for like a year. Like he would stay on me, like constantly trying to get his gun in my hand, and I would not touch it. I knew if I did, I'd end up buying one. So
yeah, that's the hard thing is you don't want to be you don't want to have that in your pocket, right?
But after that, once I got more involved in competition shooting and learn more about the basics, fundamentals, and that kind of thing, I started my next class I took with Andreas Yankopoulos, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's a GM production guy in Georgia here. Does some stuff with Ben Stoger on his his web
practice shooting training group.
Yeah, he does some stuff in there. But he did a class I attended, and he's a good dude. I see him, or some of the local matches around here too. But I don't want this to sound bad at all. Andreas is a super good dude, super good instructor, but it was more of another like basic pistol shooting course, and I didn't get a whole lot from it because I was kind of above the basic level at the time. Mm-hmm. Not to say I did pick up some things from it. I feel like, if I can pick up one or two things from a class and it's worth it for me. But at that point, I think I had, progressed over that basic course, and I started looking into more of movement oriented kind of practice and training. And I learned about Kita Bussey's stuff. And since then, I've taken all of her. Well, let me see how it started. I bought her book, or
Mm-hmm.
her first book. She's working on a second one now. What was her first one? Move Smart,
Smart move. Yeah, the
Smart move.
economy for the shooting sports or something like that. I have
So,
that book too. It's a nice book. It's really
Yeah.
heavy.
I like it. I read through it, and she had a lot of really interesting concepts and stuff that I'd never heard before. And I was really intrigued with that. I started working on some of the stuff I got in the book or from her book. And she also offers online video review. So I did some some video of myself shooting a stage, I think it was like 4 stages. Just like full body images, so she could look at it, critique footwork, movement, transitions, any kind of stuff like that. And I sent those to her, and she did an online video review, and I got so much out of that. That was tremendous. After that, I got into her first, the first class she teaches. Drove down to Florida, took a couple days off of work, and did her first class. It was a 2-day class. And then I did her advanced class, maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 months after that. She's been a tremendous help with really all aspects of my shooting, not just movement. I've learned so much from her instruction. I still talk to her now when something comes up. She shoots me emails every now and then, and when stuff she's working on in her new book or something, she'll shoot me an email. Let's see, who else have I've trained with Steve Anderson. I did his mental management
As
course.
everyone should.
Yes, I agree. That has been another huge part. I think at everyone could benefit from it, but I think at higher levels or higher classifications, you could even benefit from it more. He talks about so much stuff on his podcast about how, the mental game that he teaches. The higher your classification, the more importance the mental game plays in your game, in your matches. I got a tremendous amount from that as well, and I still try to stay in touch with Steve when I can.
I have, for me, on the mental management, you've gotten the flow chart, right?
Yeah.
I am definitely lacking in some of the areas of the flow chart, especially when it comes to match day. That's how it goes. Is the match? There's a certain step that I can't share with people who have not taken mental management, but it's definitely one of those things about the flow chart that but everyone should. Everyone hit up Steve Anderson. It's going to be the best, like $250 you're going to spend.
It absolutely is.
Especially in the off season. It's wonderful in the off season.
Oh, definitely. And it's not, like he says, if you ever listen to his podcast or anything, it's not just for shooting, although that is kind of his focus, but it'll help you in all aspects of your life, and just managing anything mentally in your life. Just tremendous amount of knowledge for $250.
Oh, absolutely. So anything after Steve, or?
I don't think so.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now we're on the other side. Now, have you looked at anyone else to take a class from?
Keita suggested I take a class with JJ Rakaza. And I would like to. I'd like to do that. I am not actively pursuing it at this moment just because of other things going on in my life. That's kind of that's a class, an instructor I'd like to train with.
I think that'd be fairly lucky, because that'd be kind of like the next step from keto, would go see JJ and eat donuts with JJ, right? All the donuts that he likes to eat before training.
Does he eat donuts?
They're power. He calls them power rings, and they give you power.
Power rings, okay.
I can't remember where exactly that comes from, but yes, he does love his donuts. But I mean, it doesn't look like he eats donuts from.
No, that's why
how jacked he is. But I mean, if you have a workout routine like that, you can eat probably pretty much anything and be like, yeah, it's okay. I'll work it out tomorrow.
You're gonna burn 8,000 calories a day. It's fine.
So, David, I forgot to mention, David is a masterclass open shooter on the cusp of making GM. So really, he's a GM. He just doesn't know it yet. But what kind of
I
drives?
do know it. I do know it.
You do know it. There you go.
Going back to Steve Anderson's training, I do know that I am a GM.
Fair enough. But now, what kind of drives your shooting? Drives your what's kind of keeping you pushing right now?
Over the last couple of years, I've really been focused on just match performance. When I got into training a lot with Keita and with Steve, a lot of it, mainly all of it, really was just focused on match performance. I shot last year, 2021 was an exception, but 2019, I shot about 10 majors a year and probably 2 or 3 locals a month. So I was shooting at least 3 weekends a month, and I was traveling a lot. I was shooting as much as I could, and that was my focus. I was shooting matches. I wanted to really focus on match performance, and I think that helped me a lot with the mental game because I was so overwhelmingly exposed to the competition side of it, which is another thing that Steve talks about training for. It's something different. Training for competing is something different than actually going out to the range and just shooting. There's a different mentality to it. I did so much of that. That's just kind of where my focus has been over the last couple of years. And 2021 with the COVID scare and everything going on there kind of changed everything for everyone. But my work at the time got the owner got scared that he was not going to, I don't know. Nobody knew what business was going to look like. He said he was not going to turn down any job opportunity that came in, and he lived up to that. He did not turn anything down, and it was so overwhelming. We worked overtime for about 1.5 years. We were 60 hours a week, every week. It got to, I couldn't practice. I lost my practice day. My live fire practice day was Friday. I lost it the entire year. I still managed to keep up with some dry fire in the morning, but live fire practice was about non-existent for me. I struggled at matches because of it. I was tired all the time. I wasn't there. I decided toward the end of last year I had to make some changes, had to do something different for many reasons.
Fair enough. And yeah, that definitely can kill match performance, definitely can kill drive, and especially when you don't have the time to put the energy in, because everyone can see, you're very passionate about USPSA and competition. When you're just so busy at work like that, I think it sucks the life out of you, really.
It does. Yeah. And I am very passionate about it. I was a match director for a while. I ran an indoor match. We did once a week. No, did we do once a week? No, I'm sorry. It was once a month during the week. I did that for about 1 year, and then I ran an outdoor match for a couple years. That's where CSRA shooters came from. That was kind of where I had this idea that never worked, but the name was CSRA in the area here. It stands for Central Savannah River Area, which is kind of this Aiken, Augusta, North Augusta area around the Savannah River. And my idea was that we could have a shooter or a couple shooters a month take responsibility for a stage, design it, set it up, and be done. Just one stage. It sounds like it would be really easy to do, but I was never able to manage that and to make it happen. So I was out there many months by myself setting up 6 stages. A lot of the time I would have help. People would show up and help me, but still 2 or 3 people setting up 6 stages Friday afternoon, and then coming in, Saturday morning and trying to run the match and trying to shoot. And it got to be a lot.
Mhm.
And kind of a good opportunity for me to step aside from that when the ammo crisis hit. We were having less and less shooters show up because of that, which I don't blame them. I mean, I totally understand, but it didn't financially make sense for me to keep it going at the time. I needed about 20 shooters minimum just to kind of break even with the target expenses and everything else, expense wise that went into it.
Well, and even in your area, there's a bunch of clubs. Like it seems
Yeah.
like you
Oh,
could
yeah.
shoot every weekend, maybe twice a weekend, if you felt like
Absolutely.
driving.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because there's MCRC, Pine
Mhm.
Tucky. You're gonna have to help me on some of these, but there's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, MCRC is in Columbia, which is about 45 minutes from me. Pine Tucky is kind of my home club. It's maybe 30 minutes from me. You've got Spartanburg, which is
Mhm.
South Carolina, which is a little bit of a drive, but they put on a heck of a match. It's about 2 hours. There's Atlanta, the Atlanta 3-Gun Club, which is about 2 hours. They do a match on Sunday. So if you timed it right, you could do a match Saturday and Sunday on that weekend. Then you've got where's Palmetto
Oh yeah,
Shooting Complex? Was it Palmetto
Gun Club maybe.
Gun Club, perhaps in
I don't know.
Charleston, South Carolina?
Travis
Uh,
Crane will correct me. I'm assuming.
yeah. And then you've got there's a club in Savannah,
Mhm.
which is about 2.5 hours south. And then I think I'm missing another one. Oh, Sand Hills, which is up above Columbia, about an hour, a little over an hour from here. So yeah, we have no lack of USPSA matches.
And if you went to North Carolina, you could go to Rowan, or you could go
Mhm.
to Sir Walter.
Yep. I'll venture up there every now and then. That's a little bit further. You start getting into the 3-hour range for me at
Oh
this
yeah,
point. But
that's dedication. I mean, I have driven 3 hours for a local match. I don't know if I do it again, but
yeah, it needs to be worth it.
yeah, the club's got to be worth it. I mean, if you're, especially when your buddy takes over being a match director, it's like, all right, I'll come to the first couple, and then we'll see on there. I mean, to see how you do. But yeah, everyone's got to have return on investment too. It's like I don't want to show up to
Yeah.
a match that I'm standing in a box, moving to a box for a 3-hour drive. So
Sure. Yeah, that's not fun for anybody.
I mean, unless it's a good class fire match, I guess maybe like you don't put all the crappy ones in there. But
Yeah.
from what it sounds like in your area, it's either there is a classifier or there isn't a classifier.
Well, most of the local matches will do like one classifier, per match for the local monthly matches. Generally, they'll do some special matches. MCRC in particular does this awesome Toys for Tots fundraiser match at the end of the year. I actually do it in November. There's no classifier at that match, but it's a 7-stage, I believe. Is it 6? I think it's 7. They do a 7-stage match, and they bring out all the props and do all the crazy stuff. It's just kind of it's a official USPSA match, but it's just strictly meant to be fun as a fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of entry is a toy to donate to the Marine Corps Toys for Tots Foundation, and we always raise tons of money and tons of toys. The Marine Corps has to bring at least 1 or 2 trucks to haul all the toys away. So it's a great event and a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I could bet. I can imagine that would be a hell of a fun. But so what are your current goals right now in shooting?
My goals, I'd like to finish up that Grandmaster thing this year. Mm-hmm. I want to win because of my current situation. Mm-hmm. I want to win the South Carolina. I want to become the South Carolina state champion again. Mm-hmm. I lost it last year to Tom Powers. I told him right after the match, he can hold on to it for me for 1 year, but I'm taking it back next year, this year. And then I am moving to Georgia. I'll be a Georgia resident, and I want to win the Georgia state championship as well.
Oh, fair enough.
That's kind of I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm just playing around with this year. Something I want to do.
Hey, there you go. I mean, everyone's got to have goals though, and that's a very specific goal. but it doesn't necessarily mean like, I don't know. It lets you follow your process essentially. It doesn't make it super results focused, but because you have to follow your whole process. And then if you follow your process, you will be the Georgia or the South Carolina state champion.
Yeah. And I directed the South Carolina match last year. And I'm not, making any excuses. Tom totally earned it, but I just had a terrible match. I was out there for 4 days for probably like 16 hours a day, setting the match up, and I was just exhausted and thought I'd try to shoot, after that, and it was terrible. I couldn't focus. My vision was awful. It was bad. I should have just not pulled the gun out of the holster.
And I mean, some people have to do that. I mean, I condone. I mean, I will give everyone props who can do that and actually have a real and shoot at their performance level, because everyone knows like if you're shooting on staff day, you're always at a disadvantage. Just a disadvantage, because say to a paid competitor, right? It seems like because you're still worried about, is the stage going to run well? I mean, do we have any hiccups? It's because everyone seems like on staff day you have to iron out the kinks.
I had a hammer in one hand and my gun in the other hand on a few of the stages, like trying to, repair stages, like right before it's my turn to shoot, like a wall would move or something. And it was not good for shooting, but the match ran really well. From what I've heard, it was, everybody had a great time. Everybody liked the stages. I was pleased to hear that everybody liked the match, and I'm not taking the match director role this year, but it's going to be at the same club again, Belton Gun Club. So come check it out. It's going to be another good match. It's coming up in April, March, something like that.
I don't know. You guys get to shoot year round anyway down there. So
we do. I'm shooting this weekend. And the following weekend. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So it doesn't, but now I want to stick on to the South Carolina section match just for a little bit longer.
All right.
That's a half day format with staff reset, correct?
Yeah. So the way that I don't understand why this is not more popular around the country. But the way that we do it in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia is staff reset. I think for staff and for the shooters, it makes a much better event. You don't have to worry about, from a staff perspective, it does require another RO or two, depending on the stage. If it's a large stage, you may need 2 additional ROs. But it's really not that difficult to accomplish with some planning, RO packages, and we've never had a problem getting ROs, and it makes the stages run smoother and the reset quicker, because the ROs are the ones resetting the stages every time, doing it consistently. They can establish a pattern, a routine for how they're going to do it. It minimizes no shoots. Almost never is there a target that's pasted early, or something like that. There's never a questionable, hit somewhere, or rarely is there, a hardcover hit that didn't get pasted from a previous shooter or something like that. From a staff standpoint and a scoring standpoint, it really helps the consistency of the scoring, I think. From a shooter standpoint, there's nothing else like it. You just go shoot, you reload your mags. By the time you're done reloading your mags, you watch another shooter or two, then you're on to the next stage. And you're done with this whole level 2 match in a half a day. Okay.
So on a 3-person squad, a 3-person RO stage, essentially, normally, you've got your timekeeper, your tablet keeper, and then your other RO typically. So you'd add maybe 1 or 2 staff to help reset. So then is someone typically getting a break between, well, I'm assuming they'd all rotate jobs a little bit, and if someone's getting winded, they can take the resetting job or an easier RO position for that stage. Well, that squad, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you're going to need 4 ROs per stage,
at minimum.
maybe 5 on a larger stage. where there's a lot of walking or a lot of reset, if there's a lot of mechanical props or something, or, a lot of poppers or swingers or whatever, a lot of stuff that takes time to reset. But on an average paper stage, medium-sized stage, 4 ROs can manage it, very easily. And yeah, we always left it up to the ROs to come up, with their plan. But typically, you'd have them rotate, duties throughout the day or whatever.
And then, how do I want to say this? So we'd have, we'll say we have a 32 round field course. It's a big field course, and it's a start anywhere stage, and you have your pattern. But then you got that one shooter's like, I'm going to run it the opposite way, mess up the whole plan. Because they've got the pattern of resetting, right? We're going to go left or right, but they started, they finished on the complete opposite side. And they're like, you bastard, now we got to do this the backwards way.
Well, so on a big 32 round course like that, typically what would happen is you'd have an RO come down from either side.
Oh, okay.
You'd have a RO walk down the right side scoring. You'd have a RO walk down the left side scoring, and you'd meet in the middle. So it wouldn't really, some weird shooter, maybe one of those left-handed guys might want to shoot it backwards, but it'd be fine. Typically, that on a big stage like that, you would just because you're consistent with scoring like that, and the ROs are doing the scoring and resetting. You have one guy on each side, and you meet in the middle, and then you're done.
So how many, off the top of your head, how many competitors did you have for South Carolina?
We had over 300 when it came down to the final numbers, I think.
And how many staff did you have total then?
I don't know that number exactly. We had 10 stages. We had 4 or 5 on each stage. So we had a few extra helping with, stats and, other things. So we probably had around 55, 60 staff.
Okay. So yeah, you had about 60, 65, 60 staff.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
I don't know exactly, but
I'm just trying to put it out to the listeners, because I do know there's some match directors who are like, how do they do this? Right. I mean, you might hear about it or see it on the ground, but it's nice to get it right from a match director's lips. Like, this is how we did it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it does require a little bit more effort, but not that much more to where it's such a big deal that, most clubs couldn't do it. It's
right.
I think it's worth it. I'd love to see that at very least at our USPSA national championship. I can't stand going to the nationals and having to reset targets myself. It just drives me nuts.
That's a fair statement. We'll get to nationals just a minute, but it's and you find and you would think it increases competitive equity when you have staff reset, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, definitely. I had as a match director, I got called over to stage, and the range master, got called over with me, and it was one of the AMU guys that were shooting. They had a questionable shot. I can't remember exactly what it was. Like, it hit a piece of hardcover or a wall or something, and still impacted a target. And the RO called it as a mic because it was a clear full diameter hit in the hardcover. And the shooter, I mean, if you know any of the AMU guys are super nice guys, but he just questioned it. He said, well, is it possible it could have been left over from the last shooter? And in any other circumstance, I think, yes, it could have been left over from the last shooter. But in our circumstance, no, because we had ROs specifically looking at every edge of this wall after every shooter, making sure it was repaired, taped over, painted, whatever it needed to be. So it made the call, fair, without any question.
True. You're definitely correct on that. I would agree with that. Now, I know there's some rule that you don't necessarily need every RO to be a certified RO on every stage. Now, did you have a lot? I shouldn't say a lot. Was there people who volunteered to staff who weren't ROs?
Yeah. We had, we are blessed in our area. We have a huge range of ROs and CROs in our area. We don't have any trouble getting a CRO in every stage and a certified RO in every stage. We like to at least do that, have those two certified ROs there. Everybody else doesn't have to be certified. We had a lot of people that just, they said, oh, we're not an RO, but we'd like to help participate. And that's not a problem at all. As long as you have your RO and CRO, you're good to go as far as level 2 match goes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was just curious because it seems like up here there's depending on the match, you have issues of getting staff or having too much staff. So I was just curious because I don't know where I heard that, and then I think I looked up the rule, but I couldn't remember for sure. But that is handy. I do want to talk about nationals.
Okay.
You were number 27 in the nation in open, and it was 2021. You didn't have you were busy. You didn't have a lot of ammo or a lot of time to shoot. Talk me through your mindset of nationals a little bit.
So the previous year I'd finished 21st, I think. And I really wanted to finish in a top 16 last year, 2021. But leading into nationals, I really kind of knew that I wasn't gonna make it. I wasn't prepared. And then again, going back to Steve Anderson's training, I had confidence. I know what I'm capable of. It's not that I did not think I couldn't finish in the top 16, but it's just that I knew that I wasn't prepared the way that I needed to be to make it into the top 16. I didn't really have a whole lot of expectations going into nationals this year. I actually finished a bit better than I expected, but it was good. It was I shot okay. I had one major mistake that actually kept me from finishing 21st again. It was one mistake on one stage. I missed one target. We had one stage that had a little bit of a memory section, and I double engaged one target and left one target. But I perfectly executed my stage plan. So it was hard. It was hard for me to feel bad about it because I did my stage plan exactly the way that I wanted to. My stage plan just did not include that one target.
Did you not count? Was it that you didn't count the number of rounds, or you didn't count the number of targets?
I counted the number of rounds, and I was getting the number of rounds every time, but I was double engaging a target.
What stage was that? But do you know by any chance?
3, maybe.
3. Okay.
2 or 3.
Yep. Okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
There was a bunch of double stacked barrels in the back, and then some open targets, weaved in and out of these barrels, and you had 4 or 5 different shooting areas, ports and whatnot. And
you had to kind of you shoot through the middle of the stage, and then you come up it kind of makes like an L essentially too.
Yeah, you came out the right, and you had to go, downrange to engage through that final port or whatever.
Yep. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
So my round count was dead on every time. I executed my plan perfectly. I just did not include that one target in my plan.
Now, what day of competition was that?
That was the second day.
Okay, so you came out of area 3 first. Then you went to zone 3, shot all the Shannon's crap, and then came down to
that was interesting.
1.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I normally don't, suggest people kind of taking it easy on the first day or whatever. You just, kind of need to go at 100% all the time. But Shannon's stuff kind of required you to kind of step back a little bit and make sure you were aiming properly. He had some difficult stages there, but yeah, shot that one, his stage, that zone first, and then came down to zone 1, I guess it was, on the second day.
Well, at least you got the disaster factor out of the way first, right? If that was the section you were going to mess up, it seemed like it would have been that one.
I had some pretty good stages on that zone. I think I had a third place finish on a stage there on zone 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they were different. You couldn't. They were not hoser stages by any means. You had to make sure you were aiming.
Right. Now, when you the weekend reload, did you just transfer back into the reload, or did you do it the funky reload?
No, I did the Eric Graffel reload.
Oh, did you?
But Jay Beal and I have been practicing that one. And so I did the upside down.
Chuck it in the gun. Well, you do
Stuff.
have that honk and limb cap magwell on there, so it definitely does help.
It's hard to miss that.
So that's pretty cool. Now I'm assuming that if you had to take one stage back, it would have been stage 3.
Yeah, I think it was stage 3. Whichever one that I had that procedural on. That cost me 5 places.
Wow, that is a lot of places right there. But I mean it's nationals and it's open,
Yeah.
so I mean that's what an FTSA, 2 mics.
No, six places. 6 places, I guess.
Yeah, yep, 6 places. Yep, because 21 to set 27. Yep. So yeah, that'd be an FTSA for not shooting at it, the 2 mics, and then the points you lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the 10 points you possibly could. Yeah, that's a lot of points, right?
I had 4 alphas on one target though. That counts for.
I mean, I wish it wouldn't
nothing.
Be nice if it counted. But
no, but going back and looking at that, really, I was not prepared for nationals. I was not expecting to do very well at all. But realistically, minus that one major error, I would have finished exactly the same place that I finished last year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I felt pretty good about that.
At least events you would have been consistent.
Yeah, I mean, given everything that 2021 had in store, I felt pretty good about it. It would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, you know, you're still what top 30 in the nation shooting an open gun. So I mean, there's something to be proud about, right?
Yeah, I know I can do better, but
well, there's always next year, right?
This year, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if I want to fly out to Colorado this year, but
oh yeah, that's right.
We'll see how things work out.
Yeah, because that's for sure. You don't. That's a long drive or a long flight. You know.
I did Las Vegas in 2019, I think. It was Utah actually, but I flew into Las Vegas and drove to Utah for nationals there. But,
Dust Bowl nationals.
I got out of there before it was dusty.
Oh, there you go. That's always a good thing. I mean, because you know those open guns, they get a lick of dust in them, and they're like, I don't know what's wrong.
Well, not if you use gun butter.
Well, that's true.
I had not a single issue in the desert of Utah with gun butter lubricating my firearms.
There you go. Now, what would you say would have been your best stage at nationals?
Well, I did. I don't remember exactly what stage it was now, but it was one of Shannon's stages on Zone 3 that had some really far swingers. It might have been 25-yard swingers, 2 of them, and I did really well on that one. I was winning the stage for a while, I think, for a day or two, and ended up, I think, third overall on that stage. That one, it was interesting. You had long distance popper to activate a long distance swinger on either side of the stage, and I don't believe I had any makeups on steel. Just kind of executed that one pretty well.
That's pretty cool. Now, you've shot nationals a couple times. Now, if there's one thing the USPSA could do to make nationals better, in your opinion, what could they do?
Man, it's just, I just mentioned it earlier. If you could have staff reset at nationals, that would just make it feel like a little bit something more. Yeah, I don't know, at a national level like that, and you're looking at staff being there for 5 days at a time or more with some of the historically, we had a 9 days of nationals a few years ago. I don't know if it's feasible to do that with the number of staff that you would need. I don't know. I'd have to look at numbers, but it's really easy. We do it around here. It makes it so much better for the shooters, so much better for staff. That would really change the event for me. I think it's supposed to be the best that we have to offer as USPSA, as an organization. And honestly, I would rather shoot one of our local matches, or not our local matches, but one of our section matches. If you could do a section match over like 2 days, staff reset, there's so little stress. I enjoy it actually more than nationals.
Fair enough. That's a fair statement, especially when it runs well. You're out in a half it. You're not there very long as a competitor on staff reset. So
Yeah,
that's definitely a benefit. Now, how was? Did you go to the after banquet for nationals?
yeah, I did. That was pretty cool. We went to the Talladega Motor Speedway or whatever it's called. I don't know. I don't follow NASCAR or whatever, but it was pretty cool driving in there, driving through the tunnel and going into the racetrack area. It was pretty neat.
Yeah. So there was enough food, right?
Yeah, there was pasta and then pasta.
Well, they want to put you to sleep, right? They want to, I don't know, they want to give you carbs after you're done shooting. All the energy's burnt, right?
Yeah, it was super easy to do. I guess they had some trouble at low cap nationals earlier in the year. So they had like 55 gallons of spaghetti and then 55 gallons of fettuccine noodles, and made sure everybody had something to eat this time.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that'd be better than people bitching about not getting food, right? I mean, like,
no, it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
were you surprised by the winner of that nationals again, or?
Well, I was surprised by the carry optics winner.
Oh, JJ winning carry optics instead of Max?
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I kind of expected the open winner again, but I was hoping JJ would win open also. Honestly, I did not expect him to win carry optics, but I was hoping he would win open.
From what I'm hearing, it seems like Max Michel had gun issues, but no one has come out and actually confirmed that yes, Max had gun issues.
I possibly. I don't know. He had a lot of mics, I noticed, just by looking at his score, which is super unusual for him. Now, so I don't know. Could have been gun issues.
If it was like a dot issue, or or the zero walked, well, I mean, or something happened during the day, because Max does not miss.
There should not have mics.
It did not look good for Leah Grandis though going into the third day though, because Freilich was up on Max Leah Grandis and PCC.
Yeah,
and then Mr. Freilich had an oopsie, and then he got to go home.
Yeah, he had a what was it, on a reload or something? What happened?
I think it was on a reload, or the reload. I think it was the reload transfer, because I think he had to transfer to the other arm for PCC. I think it was the stupid Eric Graffel reload stage for pistols.
Yeah,
I think they had to do that they reloaded and they transferred over, but I think it was on the transfer or something. But
well, that sucks. That's terrible. Nobody,
especially when it's near the end of the day.
Happen. Yeah, you don't want to see that happen. But
no, you don't.
It does. Unfortunately, it does happen.
It doesn't make people less. I don't think anyone thinks less of anybody if it happens. I mean, it's just a learning moment for everybody.
Yeah, it happens.
Now, David, let's see. Oh, let's go and talk about your new job venture. You're going to be moving to Georgia. You're going to go be working for Masterpiece Arms. Did they seek you out, or did you seek them out?
A little of both. Like I mentioned earlier, my 2021 year has been crazy like everybody else's. And I needed to make a change with my employment one way or another. I was sick of working 60 hours a week, and it was affecting my shooting as well as, other things in my life. But I take my shooting very seriously, and I wanted to make a change to help, get back on a normal schedule again. And some buddies of mine that do Oh gosh, I'm always terrible with the name. We do a podcast, Shooter.
Welcome, viewers, to the future. It's me, Manny, in post editing, so don't worry. David and I did want to actually make sure we did get the name and plug the right people here for this podcast that he found out about Masterpiece Arms, sorry, John Employment. So, anyways, that is the Shooter's Mindset with Greg Cannon and Jennifer Seymour. Sorry if I botched your names, my bad. But anyway, we wanted to make that clear to everybody. So there you go. Boom. Shooter's Mindset. If you like them, check them out. I'm probably gonna check them out too. So now back to the show.
They do a lot of precision rifle stuff. Is kind of their thing.
Oh, okay.
They have a lot of industry guys on their podcast, and they go to SHOT Show every year and have all the industry guys on there. But anyway, they had the owner of Masterpiece Arms as a guest on their podcast, and he was talking about they've kind of made a big name for themselves in the precision rifle world with their chassis systems and their guns. I mean, they do complete precision rifles in house.
And if I'm correct, first time I heard of them was they produced the EC tuner, right?
I don't know what that is.
The Air Core Tuna, the tuner brake, whatever the fuck that thing's called. I don't know.
For a rifle?
Yeah, I think it's like a comp
know.
or something on them.
Oh, I'm not a rifle guy, but
well, neither am I.
I don't know. Sure. Yeah, let's say they do.
Right.
But he was on their podcast, and he would just mention to them that he recently acquired a new section of his business that was going to focus on competition pistols, mainly double stack 1911s. And he was looking for someone to help out with that and kind of, do some testing. That the owner that's not kind of his side of the firearm world. He's a precision rifle shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But they mentioned my name, and they said, I know exactly who you need to talk to. So I got in touch with the owner, and we actually met for dinner one night at Nationals, and Travis Tomasi came out with us, and he's their pro shooter now, or on the team. He's the team captain.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my team captain. There's only 2 of us on the team right now, but we're growing the team. So
there you go.
But we met for dinner one night and talked some more, and we stayed in contact and over the next couple months, and worked out a plan for me to get there and kind of oversee the double stack line of Masterpiece Arms, and help with product development and some quality control issues and stuff that was going on before. There were some I've seen online on some of the like 2011 groups. There's been some I don't know. There's been some staffing changes from the former Freedom Gunworks and the CK Arms era of where that side of the business started.
Mm-hmm.
It's under new ownership, obviously. Now Masterpiece Arms owns this business. There's also been some staffing changes, and trying to be tactful about how I say it. But some of the negative stuff that people were commenting on should not follow over to Masterpiece Arms anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my best to make some quality double stack 1911s at an affordable price, and we've got a lot of stuff in a lot of ideas, a lot of things we're working on, and we're going to have an open gun fairly soon. I need something to shoot. Right now they're just making limited guns, but
I mean, you could shoot a 40 open gun. I mean, it'd kind of work, right?
I guess. I don't know. Some people do it, but I don't know.
I mean, it's probably safer, I guess. I mean,
As
pressure wise,
lower pressure, yeah.
So, are you still transitioning to starting the position, or have you started like working remotely essentially?
So I am. I've left my other position, the other shop I worked with. after Christmas. And next couple of weeks, I'm kind of working remotely, working on some CAD design stuff. In transition, just trying to get stuff ready around here and getting ready for me to move.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll still be back here on the weekends for the next few months, but I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get started making some guns.
It'll be exciting. I mean, it'd be cool to see an open gun, because I was going to ask that as a follow-up. It's like, I mean, can't be shooting a 9 miner gun or a 40 gun for a while. I mean, maybe for a little bit, but not how many red dots.
I'm going to modify one of their limited guns real quick to make an open gun for myself to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be a official Masterpiece Arms open gun, but it'll be an open gun for me to shoot. Just, you won't be able to buy it, but I'm working on an official, proper open gun that be available for sale.
That'll be pretty cool. That'll definitely be pretty cool, because we need more. I don't know. It seems like there's a couple good big name shops, and then there's regional open gun builders. Like up here near me, there's Rafferty in Indiana. There's Carne in Illinois. I don't know where Venom is, so don't shoot me down, Venom lovers. I think he's in Kentucky, maybe.
I'm not sure. He does some cool guns too.
Or he's in something, but yeah, they all make some guns. Atlas is up in in New England. Infinity's big. Yeah, so there's a lot of different builders out there. So it'd be cool to see kind of more of another bigger name from a different space, but a bigger name manufacturer come into the open gun market.
I think it's really kind of a good timing for Masterpiece Arms in the way that the 2011 double stack 1911 market is going right now, because we lost STI fairly recently with the I guess what you might call an entry level competition gun. It was kind of the way I thought of STIs, but they're still good quality 2011s, but they're not like a custom.
No, like the DVC Open was, the DVC Open was a very good price point open gun. Like, yeah, it ran. I mean, well, don't call me. I've never shot one, but from what I hear, they ran, but not as fine tuned as an Atlas or as a SV gun.
Right.
So they definitely had improvements.
We've lost STI, and Bull Armory has kind of come in kind of at that, taking the place of STI, I think, from my viewpoint, as far as the entry level race guns go. But I think there's a good place right now for Masterpiece Arms to come in kind of in between the SV and the Bull Armory arena. Mm-hmm. And we're not looking at $10,000 custom open guns, but we're also not looking at an entry level gun either, but we're going to do some very high quality stuff at a more affordable price point.
Right. I hear bull guns run. I mean, Rob T has an open gun that runs.
I had to tune it for him, but yeah, it runs.
Well, I mean, yeah, you tune everybody down there. The Cranes, like, you just finished fixing up Travis's limit, that 1911.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah.
That thing of you should have just threw the gun away at that point. But Rob, and then David Blanton, the humble marksman, he shoots bull guns now.
Mm-hmm. I shot with him at Nationals, and his ran the whole time.
So. I don't know. He took one gun to Nationals. That man is the bravest man alive. But I will say the only downside I see to a bull is that it doesn't take standard 2011 magazines.
That's disappointing.
I mean, like, if you could sell a gun for $3,500 and have it take 2011 magazines, like, if you were bull, right? I mean, they could probably make it happen, but they'd have to retool everything and be like,
I don't know.
That's the only downside I see to a bull, is the fact that it doesn't take standard magazines.
I think they're kind of ugly also.
I mean, so was the DVC Open. I mean, that thing was kind of ugly too.
I mean, I guess, it's.
I mean, you could race it up. You could mill it. I mean, you never know.
I don't know. What is it? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. Something like that. But I don't know. Anyway, I'm excited about the opportunity with Masterpiece Arms. We've got some cool stuff in the works, and I'm excited to work with Travis Tomasi. We're going to be coming out with some cool stuff.
Yeah. So have you looked at like where you're planning on like setting down a new home at, or?
I have looked only on Google. So
Okay.
I'm 2 weeks. I'm moving to a place that I've never even been to, and I'm going to work at a shop I've never even seen before. So
That'll be an interesting first day, right? Like, hey, I'm David Lyell. I guess I'm your boss, you people, but
I'm communicating with the guys there, online. We're working together already, but I just haven't met them in person. And
I'm assuming then you've zoomed them to then see what they look like, so they know who you look like, or
no, I have not zoomed them yet.
what?
We're just doing email. I got
Oh.
an offer to do a Zoom meeting earlier, but I don't know.
I don't
Maybe.
know.
Maybe
Maybe
next
I don't know.
week.
Then it would be something. I don't know. You'll figure it out. I mean, I believe in you that you'll have a good time and everything will work out for you. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's I needed a change, and my wife needed a change. She's a school teacher, and she got run down over the last couple of years too with the crazy stuff going on at her school. And she, it was a great opportunity, perfect timing for us, and it's kind of my dream job. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it was something I've been looking at in the grocery store magazine since I was 7 years old. So
Right. Well, that's cool. I'm just going with that. But yeah, so you're gonna move, but that'll be exciting. Long process. So commuting, unfortunately, for you'll stay there for like the week and then come home on the weekends.
yeah, temporarily. I've got a place to stay, temporarily, and I'll be back here on the weekends until I get the house sold here, and hopefully have a house bought in somewhere in that area.
Yeah. And they're in Georgia somewhere. Are they close to like Atlanta or?
It's North Georgia. It's pretty far east of Atlanta. It's over past east of Athens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's far enough away from Atlanta where I don't have to worry about it.
At least it not being Atlanta, so that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So David, here's another question I got for you. What are you kind of like? I mean, we love the sport. You love competition. We love shooting in general. What are ways that you think people could help the Second Amendment?
So I'm also a firearms instructor.
Okay.
I did all the NRA certifications and all that stuff, and I'm currently certified in South Carolina to teach through the SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. And I really enjoy taking new shooters and people interested in learning firearm safety and becoming more comfortable with a firearm, and taking them out to the range and helping them with that. And it's maybe a small thing, but I think it's a very important thing for people to do to help promote our rights. Help people understand that guns are not evil.
Mm-hmm.
And just help people become more comfortable with a firearm is what I see is what changes people's mind about it. People are scared of guns. I don't know what they think, but they're going to randomly explode while they're sitting in a box somewhere. But
Mm-hmm.
what I have seen is when you can get people past that fear and people become comfortable with a gun just being in their hand and shooting a few rounds, that's a like 180-degree change. And I like doing what I can to help people to get to that point, and help bring some more shooters out to some competitions occasionally. And it's a small thing, but it helps. If more people can do it, more people get out there and get firearms in their hand, get training. And
that's for sure. It definitely does normalize the sense of, having a firearm and being proficient with it. It's not going to blow up. It's not going to go off by itself.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know where people get that from. I mean, like there are unsafe firearms and like a mechanical aspect, like people have tinkered with them enough where you could drop them and they like SIG P320s for a while. You just drop them and they go off. But that's a very
Yeah.
rare instance.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe some old single action revolvers were dangerous at one point, but that was 200 years ago. We made some advancements that you don't have to worry about anymore.
Right. We got compensators and magwells. I mean, yeah,
That's right.
we've got everything figured out now. But yeah, I definitely agree. The more people we have proper training and more proper training and handling and comfortability of a firearm is definitely better for our cause. Since we did get so many new gun owners during COVID and riots and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I can't complain about taking new people to the range. I've got family members who want me to take them. Well, I've now offered to take them to the gun club since I finally got hopefully I get approved for my gun club membership. I mean, they'll take my money, I'm assuming. Like, hey, we got a new member. Somebody wants to think they want to use the range. But anyway, so I'll be able to take people to the gun club. And
do you have any indoor stuff there?
there's no indoor USPSA clubs, unfortunately, in my area. But there are some indoor ranges around me that are about 15-20 minutes, but they're not very ideal to take more than one person to the range with you. But
Yeah, just like lane shooting.
lane shooting. And most of the people who are like, I don't know, I feel more comfortable shooting outside. I don't like all the breathing, all that crap in. So
Sure,
if I'm not zeroing a red dot in the wintertime or during deer season, I'm not shooting it. I don't shoot inside unless there's just those two things. It's like, well, I got to zero this gun or I need to test fire this ammo. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I don't have much use for an indoor range either. But
I mean, unless they're going to give me free brass, unless they're giving me brass, that's all I care about.
once fired brass is good.
I mean, especially it's on concrete. So, I mean, you got to sort it a little bit, but like it's not in the rocks. It's not in like dirt. It's concrete. It's swept up brass.
That's where I get my brass from.
I mean, everyone needs that kind of hookup, right? I mean, that's the best. I think that's honestly one of the best sponsorship you can get is the local gun range just going to give you the brass that they sweep up for free anyway. But anyway, that's something cool. David, I like to ask this question just because it gets people thinking. What are something that people can either start doing or stop doing to get better at shooting?
Start doing, I think the biggest thing that people can start doing is dry fire. I suggest it to new shooters, and I don't know if they just don't want to listen to me or what, but I've actually got a guy that's been coming out to, I've been trying to introduce him to competition shooting, and he's been out to the last couple Steel Challenge matches here locally. And, Steel Challenge, you do the surrender draw for centerfire pistols. And I've suggested to him several times, just practice with an empty gun, holstered, find your position for your hands and just do it dry. Just, do it in the house, point it at whatever. If you don't have any targets or anything set up, point it at a light switch or something. Just get comfortable with the surrender draw to where you don't have to think about it. Every time we go out to a match, I ask him, have you been practicing your surrender draw? And he said, yep, about 3 times. I'm like, man, come on. Dry fire. Learn some dry fire stuff. Steve Anderson has one of the best dry fire books there that is out there. Max Michel just came out with a new book that's it's more live fire based.
This is a good book.
That's a good one. Ben Stoger's got a great dry fire book there. Yeah, and live fire. I mean, a lot of drills can be done either way.
This one's their newest book. Have you looked into this one yet?
Oh, is that the newest one? No,
this is the newest practical shooting training with him and Joel. This one I would recommend even you pay. I mean, there's different levels of shooter in here, so that's kind of cool.
No, I haven't seen their new one yet. I've been wanting to check it out. I heard Joel was on a podcast somewhere or another. He was talking about his book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got another one. And I honestly think I just kind of figured this out is it's kind of hard to some people don't want to dry fire because they don't have like a set plan, right? They don't know what exactly to do. They're like, well, yeah. They know what dry fire is, but they're like, well, I don't know how to get better with dry fire other than, some people are at least it seems like there's people in this community are very type A personality, right?
Oh,
we want to win, but then there's like the OCD type A's who are like, oh, I got to do this, 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 and this. So, but some of those people are like, I don't know where to start. kind of, and that's what I can
Yeah.
see is like, for me, like my training when I originally started out, I'm going to do a little bit of everything and not really focus on anything to get anything really, really good. It would just be, I'm good at all of these things, but I'm not like, my draw speed isn't a fantastic, I mean, it's still good.
Mhm.
It's not like, but it's not 0.6 on a 7-yard open target or something like that. So you're kind of, I don't know. People sometimes need that focus or knowing exactly what to work on for how long and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So I used Steve Anderson's book, Refinement and Repetition. He's got 12 drills. His first 12 drills in that book gives you a standard, a baseline, something to follow every day. And he's got times in there, suggested, I guess what was a grandmaster time at that time when he wrote the book. And it gives you a structured dry fire program, and it's very easy to follow. I used it for a couple years. I still do a lot of the drills in there just because they're, just to kind of maintain some of my skills and stuff. But that's an excellent way to improve your gun handling, improve everything about your shooting without ever firing a live round. Get you a timer, shot timer, something with a par time you can set, and a dry fire program, schedule, book, whatever it is you're going to do. Something you should stop doing if you want to get better at shooting is changing platforms, playing with gear, trying all kind of different stuff. Stop doing that. It's fun, and I get it. I like gear. I love messing around with stuff. But if your focus is to strictly improve, pick a gun, pick a set of gear, and stay with it. Run with that gear. You will see more improvement just by doing that than trying the next, I don't know, magwell or weighted grips or
right. Yeah. And
sights or whatever. I don't know.
right. Well, and I also say this, it's like, you don't need to go buy another new gun, right? You don't need to go get the new Walther PDP. You need to go buy yourself a box of primers or, guns worth of primers. And if you can find them, and some ammo, and go shoot some matches or go practice, other than spending another $700 on a gun.
Yeah. The only time, yes, I totally agree with that. But the only time I could kind of see if buying a new gun were to make you want to practice more, then I would say go ahead and buy a new gun. But
right.
But
I
the
guess
point
that's
of
true.
The point of it is making you want to practice more, not necessarily the new gun.
Right. Because I mean, from people I've talked to, there are the definite collectors or the gun people, or there's the competitor. The competitor who's like, I've got my guns, I might need to get a backup gun, but it's not like, or my second backup gun. They're more focused on that than, I want to buy the new thing that just came out.
Yeah. I love guns. I'm total gun guy. I'm always looking at guns, and in South Carolina, we recently legalized open carry in our state. And Georgia has always been open carry, and I love it because I'm always looking at everybody's gun to see what they have on their hip, what they're carrying. I'm just a gun guy. I just like guns. I would love to collect guns, but I love shooting guns more than
collecting
like
guns.
a collection. But I mean, by the time I'm done with my guns, they're not worth anything anymore. They're worn out and their slides loose and it's noisy when you shake them around, and it's I get the enjoyment out of actually using them. But I totally, I understand the collector side of it too. There's some really cool guns out there.
Oh, very, very true. Now, David, who are your sponsors? I mean, we talked about a couple of them, but go ahead and give us the list so they can pay their bills, I guess.
Yeah, well, Masterpiece Arms is the newest. We're going to be doing some really cool stuff. We're going to be shooting one of their open guns soon. Gun Butter, like we mentioned, check them out on the website. I think everybody just got the new Glock store catalog. There's they sell it at the Glock store catalog. Gun Butter's in there. Shooters Connection sells it. You can buy it straight from their website. Blue Bullets really helps me out with the polymer coated bullets. I've shot, I don't even know how many of their blue bullets through an open gun and never had a single issue with it. People question the leading or whatever to build up into comps, and it's a non-issue. It's just you maintain maintenance and cleaning your firearms.
Mhm.
Sharpshooters of Augusta is the local outdoor range here, and Shooters of Augusta, it's their sister company, is the indoor range. They help me out with stuff, brass and a place to practice. Brian at Hunters HD Gold helps me out with the eyewear.
Mhm.
Some of the best protective eyewear in the game. I don't think I'm going to wear anything else again.
Right. Yeah. Did you see? I'm assuming since the day of the recording, yesterday today's Tuesday. So yes, Monday the 3rd, they released their new line of frames. Did you see that yet?
Is it the red and blue matrix thing?
Yeah, the
or
Matrix
whatever?
frames. Yes.
Yeah.
They're
A little
pretty
too
cool.
sporty for me, I think. But.
They make a black version. Although, I do like my velocities. I think I have a set of velocities, and then I have a set of magnums, and then I got a set of Oakleys.
I shoot in the BJ Norris signature frames or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
they're lightweight and they're enough for me. I like them.
Fair enough. I can't complain about those. But David, where can they find you on the internet if they want to find you, or if you want to be found?
Yeah, so I've got a YouTube channel. It's just my name, David Lyell. I'm going to start trying to do some more with it here in the future, doing some stuff with Masterpiece Arms, some videos and stuff on there. Instagram is CSRA Shooters, and Facebook is CSRA Shooters. So check me out.
Well, there you have it, guys. You can check David Lyell out on Instagram, Facebook, the YouTubes. You'll find him. CSRA Shooters and YouTube. I have to say that because it's in my brain, so I remember it. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you all checking out this video. David, thank you again for coming on and being on the podcast. I greatly appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Alex. Enjoyed it very much.
Well, thank you. And so everyone, till next time, get out and do the things. And I'll see you on the next one.